Hello, in this video I'll show you what happens when a Bradley AFV gets a little too friendly with a Warhammer-style predator tank. So I started this build by making a cardboard center structure. The idea was to create a simple boxy shape and then build out the extended side sections. Since I wasn't replicating either the Bradley AFV or the Predator tank exactly, I gave myself the freedom to experiment with how it would turn out. That said, I kept a plastic toy soldier figure nearby as a scale reference. One thing I really liked about this build is that I didn't have to deal with a full set of tracks. The side panels cover more than half of the tracks, sprockets and road wheels, which saved a lot of time. As for the road wheels, I honestly don't even remember where I got these from. It's been that long. To add some detail along the lower side, I glued on these plastic coffee cup lids. Then I added beads inside each one and covered the tops with punched out cardboard discs. To build the tracks, I used thin cardstock strips as a base and made each segment from thicker cardstock. To be honest, I hate making tracks. They are hard to keep symmetrical and you need a lot of them. So I left them fairly simple and didn't add grooves or fine details. It would have taken forever and the result wouldn't really look manufactured anyway. Once the tracks were done, I closed off the sides. Next, I moved on to the side guns, something I definitely borrowed from the Predator tank. Ideally, a semi-hexagonal shape would have worked better, but I had a lot of these lids, so I built around them. Since I planned to add a lot of rivet detail, I also added extra armor plates. After defining the turret position, I started adding bits and pieces, sprue parts and random leftovers to build up detail on the back. Now, realistically, exposed wires and hoses don't really belong on military vehicles. But I still love how they look, so I used electrical wire to add some anyway. I also wanted the tank to carry some items on its sides. The quickest solution was to hang a chain and some wooden logs. Since I imagined the engine being at the rear, I added a simple vent detail to fill that empty space. After a few more details, I moved on to the front section. I'd call it a ripper blade. Since I wasn't fully committed to the final look, I made it magnetically removable. It could have been a centimeter wider and the teeth could have been bulkier. But as it is, it kind of looks like rough battlefield modification, so I went with it. After that, I started working on the turret. I used a cologne bottle as the base. Inserted a syringe cap, built it up with masking tape and used a plastic straw for the main gun barrel. The bottle itself felt a bit small compared to the tank's width, so I kept adding cardboard layers to make it look bulkier and more aggressive in a sense. The cardboard cuts I used to mimic reactive armor left some big gaps between them, so I covered those up with additional plates. That made the turret look heavier and also saved me a lot of trouble during painting. I used more plastic lids, armature wire, and even a resin print support piece as a radio antenna. To make things more interesting, I added a rocket pod using plastic container and toothpicks as rockets. Just like the blade, I treated it as field modification and added a cable detail. Having an extension on only one side bothered me, so I made a second one. Finally, I added various sizes of beads to imitate rivet detail. I also like to show when things don't go perfectly. On this build, I ended up gluing the side units slightly off center, about 1.5 centimeters. They're identical parts, just misaligned. There's also a bit of a tilt, but it is what it is. Let's move on to the painting. Speaking of painting, I painted everything using cheap craft paint. I ran out of Vallejo black primer, so this was my only option. Normally, acrylic craft paints don't perform great on models, they tend to clog details. But I applied 2 diluted coats and got a decent result. Good enough, at least. I've been wanting to try sponge painting for a while. Since the base coat turned out okay, I painted most of the tank using red craft paint. I started with a mix of black and red and gradually worked my way up to lighter tones. I really like the dabbing method. It creates a nice random texture, especially on flat surfaces. Although I did forget to go back and brush paint some of the areas the sponge couldn't reach. So a few spots ended up a bit too dark. Once I was done with the red, I switched to Vallejo paints and kept dabbing using amaranth red. Then I mixed a bit of a flat yellow. And finally added some highlights with just flat yellow. I painted the hoses with dark rubber, the logs with chocolate brown and old wood tones. I dry brushed the moving side turret parts with gunmetal. While I had the gunmetal out, I also picked out some rivets to suggest wear and tear. Then I switched to bronze and painted some pipe details on the back. And dry brushed the blade with oily steel. To finish the main paintwork, I applied a dark red wash here and there. Once everything dried, I named the tank Little Devil and added a unit number of 6 on the side and the back. I wasn't too happy with the lettering, so I toned it down with more red paint and some weathering powders to hide the rough brushwork. Originally, this was meant to be just a tank build, but I decided to convert the toy soldier I used for scale. Since it's a cheap plastic figure, there was a lot of cleanup, mold lines, sanding, all that. I exaggerated the weapon by adding a cotton swab tube and a piece from a dental floss pick as a bayonet. Used a wooden bead as a scope. Then I covered the sleeves with air drying clay to turn the jacket into a long sleeve coat. I also wanted a gas mask, so I sculpted one over the face and added a small piece for the breathing unit. I played around with a cape idea as well, using some clay. To get it to hold shape, I applied CA glue while it was still damp. Painted it black first, then used a mix of green-brown and NATO green tones for the uniform and the cape. I intentionally chose a different palette to separate the soldier from the tank. Painted the boots and gloves in brown tones. Added some gunmetal to the rifle and finished with washes and weathering powders. While working on the figure, I decided to build a simple base as well. What started as a standalone piece ended up becoming more of a diorama. It also helped fix the tank's tilt issue. I covered the base with clay and added random scattered wood pieces, cardboard cuts, plastic bits. Painted everything with a mix of black and red. Then worked from darker to lighter tones using various Vallejo browns. Painted the objects with appropriate colors. I especially liked how the cardboard pieces turned out. They ended up looking like metal sheets. I applied a dark brown wash over the entire surface to bring everything together. Then added a diluted black wash into the crevices and around the scattered objects. Finally, I added a bit of a greenery, just to suggest that life always finds a way. Right, the unevenness is still there, since I never fixed it, but like I said, the paint job hides it pretty well in my opinion. Placing it on the base also helped solve the tilting issue. This time, I didn't glue anything down. I want the option to reuse the base later or display the tank on its own. Same goes for the soldier. I'm not completely happy how it turned out, so I might swap it out in the future. That's all from this video, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think and feel free to share your ideas for future builds in the comments. Don't forget to like the video if you did, and subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, take care and goodbye.